Hey, everybody. We appreciate you for listening to the Sports Counterpoints podcast on December the 10th, 2024. I'm GB, Brian and Coop with me as always. Back at it. What's going on, guys?
What's
What's
on?
good?
Man, back to it. Great weekend. Good to see you guys up here in the Bay.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Fantastic time. Shout out to the homies that visited too. Appreciate y'all for coming through. So yeah, it was a fun time. So back to it, man. Football. Let's talk it. It's NC2A and NFL, man. That's what we care about at this time of year. Let's keep it real. So give me the college rundown, man. What y'all seeing out here in this last week and this upcoming week with the brackets out?
Man, first game on the board, Brian. Which one you want to go with?
Well, there's really only one. We're going to talk about the Boise State UNLV game.
We can go there.
So, the big news in the Boise State UNLV game, even though it was a Mountain West championship, had nothing to do with Boise State winning, which they did pretty easily. It was whether or not Jinty was going to get 131 yards and pass Barry Sanders' rushing record, which he also did. He got 209 yards, and now he is the all-time season leading rusher.
What's the total yards?
College football. What was his total yards? I'll look real quick, but it was 2,497 yards.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
29 touchdowns.
Damn.
On 344 carries.
That's so tight. We got to see some of those yards too, Coop, in that historic
season. We saw
they had the record-breaking season.
That's tight.
Just imagine if someone was able to say that they were there when Barry Sanders did it. Like that is real stuff, right?
Yeah.
If Barry Sanders was such a class act before the game. People were saying my fans might trip or they might, not want it to happen. But records are made to be broken. I'm rooting for you. I sincerely hope that you're able to pull it off and make it happen. And he did, so that's great.
Yeah, who'd they
Barry
play?
Sanders.
Sounds like. I'm sorry. They played
UNLV.
UNLV.
Oh, was it? Okay, thought so. Nice.
Yeah, it was. They won 21-7. They were up 21-0 at half. Okay. I did not get to watch the game. I was at an event, but I was keeping track on it. Just mainly because I wanted to see if he broke the record. And Boise State. It was good for UNLV to get there, but Boise State was clearly.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they kind of slowed down him in the first game, Genty, but this game he did his thing. Now, for the record, Genty to me is not the runner Barry Sanders was. Barry Sanders it's iconic in my mind. I have his college jersey from Oklahoma State, but still, despite all that, Genty definitely gonna have an NFL career, and good for him to break Barry Sanders' record because people have gotten sort of close, but never actually broke the record. So to actually break the record, you understand when you're a running back, you're going to get hit a lot. You're going to need a lot of carries to do it, and you're going to have to be durable, to have that to get that record. You're going to get hit. Doesn't matter what conference you play in.
We saw a lot of it.
They
were hitting them too.
They were on
two, three people at a time.
Yes, they were on
the entire game.
So
that's
be
true.
able to stay healthy and progress through that, man, it's an accomplishment.
There was no mistaking what the Boise State offense was. It's not like they had a dynamic passing game to go along with it.
Yeah.
Right. It's all
about running that ball.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think Jinty had more rushing yards or just very close than Madsen had passing yards. Yeah. So how often does that happen?
I believe it.
Yeah. Awesome.
I know we both had Arizona State. I don't think people know this because people don't watch Arizona State. But Arizona State is actually an underrated college football team. They're actually a decent team. That point spread was only 2 points, so I jumped all over that. They blew the hell out of Iowa State.
But
we
both had that one for sure.
Yeah, we definitely had that. Arizona State though is one of those teams that you call a tough out. They're not going to be easy. They're actually a pretty good team. I'm not saying they're national championship worthy, but they won't be an easy out. No. So good for them.
They throw haymakers and just see what happens next, basically.
Yep, definitely. But now we can go to, I know we were on opposite sides on this, and obviously this was obviously a toss-up game between Georgia and Texas. Anybody could have won this one. So, Brian, what are your thoughts? Georgia pulled it out in overtime.
Yeah, it was a good – look, the thing about Texas, and I'm still, as I've said all season long, I still think Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State are the three best and most talented teams in the country. And I'd still stand by that even with the loss to Georgia because they only have 2 losses all season and they're both to one team. That's Georgia. So, clearly styles make fights and Georgia was able to do it. And as, I think, Jason, you pointed out, the big thing here is Sarkisian is not as good a coach as some of the other coaches in the SEC. And this is a place where he might falter a little bit. It was a 3-point game in overtime.
Yeah.
So this was it was a coin toss game. It was very, very good. I think the one thing that you see when you stay in the pros, because pros, when you sometimes play each other 2 different times, if you play each other a third, the likelihood that it shifts just because of that experience, at least in the pros, is always the other way, right? So you lose twice to Georgia. Texas might be able to do it in the playoffs if they get there again. I don't know. But this was actually a solid game, well played. It's nice to see Quinn Ewers kind of like get back into a rhythm there. He had 370 yards through the air. But obviously the difference, and by the way, I didn't know this, all the SEC coaches are like best friends and they have a group chat, and Sark and the Georgia coach they were interviewed before the game and we're talking about how great of friends they are. They also said that Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss is kind of nuts in the group chat.
Just funny.
Wasn't a surprise, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Brian. I have nothing against Texas. It's just Sarkisian in big games. I mean, he was clearly better than his team was clearly better than Washington's team last year, and Washington just worked them in the playoff. And then, Georgia, I still think they're better than Georgia, even though Georgia won the game. I still think Texas overall is a better team than Georgia, and Georgia ended up, pulling it out. But like I said, it doesn't mean that Texas won't win the national title, and I definitely don't think Georgia's win the national title. But I have, I guess, no less opinion of either team after this game. I still feel the same way, even though Georgia won. Let's see. Next game we can go to is Penn State and Oregon. I know I had Penn State on the spread, but Oregon winning. Oregon covered the spread and won. I figured Penn State would be able to score points, but Oregon was just scoring them in bunches, Brian. They scored, it felt like anytime they wanted to. They knew they can work that defense, and they did. I picked Penn State to lose because James Franklin, again, he doesn't really beat good teams. He'll beat down the bad ones. They'll get a high ranking, but when it comes to playing the Ohio States or Michigan when they're good, or Oregon, he always comes up short, and it's always been like that since he's got there. But good win for Oregon. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of went the way I would have expected it. I think Oregon deserves to be the best team in the country, and I'm also kind of rooting for them a little bit, obviously, because of the whole Pac-12 affiliation. But yeah, it's going to be real hard to see a team that's going to be able to fight the Ducks in the playoffs. I obviously didn't think that Penn State had a chance, and that's not to say that I think Penn State is bad. I think they're a solid team. They've been solid all season. But there's elite, and then there's very, very good.
Yeah.
Penn State is very, very good.
Yep.
And I think both of us like their playoff prospects, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to. I don't want to get. I know I'm an ACC guy. I don't want to talk about Clemson and SMU because Miami should have been there and they blew it. So
they certainly did.
Now SMU's head coach used to be Miami's offense coordinator, so I was kind of rooting for them. But I said on the podcast, I'm taking Clemson because SMU has never been there before. The only thing people think about SMU football, they think about the Pony Express when players were getting paid back in '84, and they shut down the program for 2 years. So, just people know they've been playing college players. They've been playing college players for decades, and it ain't been recent. But yeah, so that's what
me thinks there's a little bit of it. There's no damn reason for there to be 2 teams from the ACC in the college playoffs. Miami was the best in the ACC for most of the season, and then they drop out, and then 2 teams go in there, and the only reason they do that is because a 17th ranked Clemson, which would have been nowhere near it, beat an 8th ranked SMU, and they let both of those teams in there. That's my conspiracy. I think they kind of negotiated. Hey, we're going to do this close so we can have 2 teams in the inaugural 12-team playoff. But whatever.
Let's see. Well, let's just jump to it right now. So we got 4 games right now for the first round. We got Clemson ACC versus Texas SEC. Then we have Tennessee SEC versus Ohio State Big Ten. And you got SMU ACC versus Penn State Big Ten. And then you got Indiana, a team that should not be there from the Big Ten, playing against Notre Dame, who's an independent. So let's go with the first game, Brian. Give me your overall thoughts, first of all, of the top 4 seeds, Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State, and then go ahead.
It's just if you would put a bracket, if you'd put this bracket up at the beginning of the season and said Arizona State and Boise State would have buys, going into the new college playoffs, people would have legitimately thought you were nuts. Oregon, I think people could see it. Georgia, sure, people always kind of think they would be there. If you had done this before, it would probably have had Ohio State in there, and then
Texas.
I think it was. But maybe Texas, but maybe Michigan, because before the season, but it would not have been Arizona State and Boise State. So the first thing I said is that this is interesting. This is intriguing. This is exactly why people wanted to have an expanded playoffs, because you got two previously Pac-12 teams with buys in the playoffs where they could not sniff a game in the playoffs prior to. And so, already I think that we've seen something that's a more entertaining product, a better, more interesting storyline, just by having Arizona State and Oregon in there. Also, you have Boise State. That's three basically West Coast teams: Idaho, Oregon, and Arizona. All representing the three of the bye weeks. So there's that. And then, I think we'll talk about it as we're going through the bracket, but some of these teams got like cake draws. As I was saying earlier before we started, Texas might have actually been better off in the position. I mean, they have to play an extra game, but they might be better off given the matchups they get for the first 2 weeks. And the same goes for Penn State, which I think they got the lucky penny, and they have to play a first round game. But
we were talking a little bit before we start this podcast, everybody, and Brian immediately mentioned the Texas's draw, and I immediately saw Penn State. Penn State plays SMU, who they are clearly better than, but SMU might score some points, but Penn State's the better football team. And then all around, if Penn State plays Boise State, that'll be going to be my bet of the year right there. I'm taking Penn State all day. I don't care if the spread's 14. I'm still taking Penn State. Penn State is so much better than Boise State. I don't care where they play at. Penn State is definitely making that Final Four draw. Another thing, Brian, you mentioned this as well. I didn't get this far down the bracket, but Indiana and Notre Dame. Indiana just shouldn't be there in the first place. They're one of those teams that you call like an 8th seed in the NBA or a one and done in NFL playoffs. That's what Indiana is. They're not doing anything.
How do you get a playoffs with an all Indiana first game? That's just, again, you want to go conspiratorial. They're like, I don't know that they're supposed to be in there. We're going to make it interesting. We're going to put them in there against Notre Dame in the first round, and let people enjoy the all Indiana Bowl in the first round of the playoffs.
All right, now 2 questions for you. What is I know my most interesting game. What is your most interesting game in this first game,
Well, the most interesting one is Ohio State, Tennessee.
Yeah, okay, that's mine. All right.
Because Tennessee's a solid team.
Yeah.
And this is not a cakewalk for Ohio State. I think they'll win.
Agreed.
But I don't think this is a cakewalk. So if I were picking a team, I would pick Ohio State to win that. But I don't think that's the easiest game of the week. I think Texas is able to handle Clemson handily, and then I think Penn State is able to beat SMU probably pretty well. Notre Dame, I think, is going to beat Indiana pretty well. So the game where you're going to be like, this could go another way, is Ohio State, Tennessee.
Okay, so I'm with you. I got Clemson. I got Texas beating Clemson. Yes, that's a game that Texas should win, and that's a good starter game for Texas, because if Texas wants to win the national championship, they need a starter game to kind of build that momentum. So that's a good starter game.
We only lost to one team in football.
Right, but they're known for losing when they shouldn't. But I'm going to go against you. I'm taking Tennessee against Ohio State. Okay. I don't trust them. Not saying that Ohio State's not good. For some reason, just something about them I can't put my finger on, but I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. Penn State should beat SMU, and then Notre Dame should handle Indiana handily. And so I'm with you, except on the Tennessee-Ohio State game, which is an 8-9 matchup. It can go either way, but I'm going to go with Tennessee.
So one of the other interesting things, and obviously these games aren't happening for a few weeks, so we'll probably talk a little bit more as we get closer to them. But the other thing about this bracket that I find really interesting is I don't know how much Texas paid, but literally they've only lost to one team. Maybe it was twice. And that other team is on the other end of the bracket, as far away from them as they could possibly get.
Yep.
I seriously doubt that it works out that they play each other a third time. But if they did, it'll be, obviously it would have been written.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to see Georgia play Texas again. I really don't. But I got you. Is real quick, Brian. Are there any of the non-traditional, not non-major bowl games? There one bowl game that you're looking forward to?
I haven't really gone through them all to be honest.
There's like 50 of them.
Yeah, there's like 1,000. Yeah. Yeah. Where they're gonna have some weird bowl, but I actually do like looking at some of the games. So they have interesting matchups. They do try and do things that make it bowl television worthy. Like they got USC playing at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas against Texas A&M. Those are neither of those teams played well enough to really think about, but I do bet that it's going to be a good game. If you want to see two teams that are relatively evenly matched in their not so wonderfulness, it's you can say that about Texas A&M and USC.
That's funny. Not so wonderfulness.
Right.
There's so many games that they're able to create. So when I used to play basketball at the job, and we had all the people who come up during lunch and play basketball, we would power match. So it'd be like I'd be on one side and they'd pick someone who's about my skill level on the other side and just kind of match through and get the two teams. You can do that with these bowl games. And I feel like sometimes they do, which create interesting matchups in games that might otherwise suck.
Yeah, there are three games on my radar. In the Glenn, you'll like this, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. It's going to be
had some Pop-Tarts for lunch. I mean for breakfast this week.
It's in Orlando, Florida. Miami's playing Ohio State. Now, this game will only be interesting to me if Cam Ward plays. If Cam Ward doesn't play, then all bets are off. But the reason why I say it'll be interesting is because they're much better than Iowa State. But Miami has a terrible, terrible bowl record, like track recently. So they always they'll lose to anybody in the damn bowl game. So, but if Cam Ward plays, then, it'll be interesting. The second one that I am interested in is Alabama and Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl. That's an interesting matchup.
Who the hell is ReliaQuest anyway?
I don't. Maybe an insurance company, but
it worked because you said it out loud. They got a shout out.
Yeah, they got free advertisements.
This is on New Year's Eve, and the reason why this is interesting is because Alabama, they're usually playing in the major bowl games, and this is the coach's first year. So same Michigan. But the thing is, though, Alabama's a little bit, I guess, more was expected of Alabama than with Michigan. But the Michigan's coach, this could be a really, really big win for him if he can pull this off, even though it's in a bowl game against Alabama. So it's huge for him. So that's why that game is interesting to me. And then the third game and last game is Colorado and BYU. And this game will only be interesting if Shedeur Sanders plays. And the reason why he could try to boost his draft stock by trying to murder BYU. So I would play the over.
It's projected 1 or 2 in every mock draft there is.
Oh God.
I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with it either. I just whatever. But yeah, I would take the over in this game. I don't know what the point total is, but I expect Colorado to try to pull up points. And BYU is good for about 24, 27 points themselves. So I would expect some points in this one. But those three games are interesting to me. Yep, that's it.
Every mock draft has them as a Giant or a Raider.
Yeah, there's some people in the barbershop talking about they want him as a Raider. I'm like, no, you don't. But all right.
By all means.
Go ahead, take them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Other than that, from college, man, I think we're good.
All right, let's slide to the league, man. Start with that. And I'm just give you the quick hitters, man. Y'all, I mean, you ain't gotta, go super fast, but I'm just throw the games out. So starting with Thursday night, Packers Lions. The Lions win 34-31.
Well, we were on opposite ends, Brian. So you go first. I had Packers. At least they covered the spread, but they lost the game. How'd you think about the game?
Again, this was a great matchup. This was a lot of fun to watch. Both these teams, I really thought the Packers were playing the better game. And while I said that I wouldn't pick the Packers, I would root for them because obviously it would have been better for me and my team if they were able to find a way. And for the vast majority of this game, I thought they had done it. And then the Lions are so resilient. They prove it game in, game out. Where, the difference between them and the Chiefs in this regard is you see why the Lions came back and won the game. You can track the moment where the momentum changed, where they started playing harder, or making the plays or whatever. And the Chiefs, on the other hand, all of a sudden, black magic and the referees kind of take over and they win a game. But but this was a very, very solid football game. The Lions showed that they're as resilient as we would expect them to be. And the record, the entire the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings have 6 losses between them all season.
Yeah.
And 3 of them are to each other.
Yeah.
So they have 3 losses to anyone that's not
sick.
them. That's
sick.
Pretty good stat. But anyways,
that's sick.
Great game. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Cool.
Yeah, Green Bay to me had a slow start. They were down 17-7 at the half, and they played better in the second half, much better in the second half. And I still think Green Bay, if Green Bay and Detroit play in the playoffs, I still think Green Bay can beat them. Not saying they will, but Green Bay can definitely beat Detroit.
They won't, though.
It was
Lions
a good game.
is rolling, bro.
Yeah, they are. But
that was why I picked them. I just said until someone beats them, I'm not going to say that they're going to lose.
And like Brian said, you see why they win too. They body fools. They're not just like somehow, some way. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised.
They're a running team, and they are physical. They're physical, like their coach. He built a physical team on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line, and they won. Congratulations to them. Like I said, Green Bay at least covered the spread. They made a game, but they didn't win.
Yep. All right. So what about Brown Steelers? I'm gonna keep moving unless y'all have a quick thought.
Well, I have a quick thought on Jacksonville,
Keep
Tennessee.
winning.
If you watch that game,
I'm gonna get there.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Yeah. Well, Brown Steelers, nothing there. Saints Giants, nothing there. Jets Dolphins, Jets lose again. Jags Titans.
Wait, you're going kind of fast there.
I mean, I'm figuring there's
he's
nothing
going
to
through
talk
the bad
about.
games, basically.
Yeah. Well, your boy Derek Carr fractured his left hand.
I know, poor guy.
You got nothing to say? Okay.
I mean, it's people get hurt in football. It's a violent game, and it's the end of the season for a Saints team that wasn't going to do nothing, and a Giants team that wasn't going to do nothing.
Okay.
All this really does is mean we don't play. Derek Carr doesn't play to the Raiders, and he can't lose to every team in the league now. Potentially.
All right. Well,
won, that's literally true. That's a literal stat.
That's
He
true.
lost to every team in the league.
The Saints coach. He's won 3 out of 4 games. The interim coach. You think he should be the head coach? I know people love the interim guy.
No, because the Giants were trying to lose this game. This wasn't a game where the Saints played well. They beat a team that was trying to lose by 3.
And I'm saying people love the interim guy who comes in and win meaningless games. They want to give him the job the next year. I'm telling you, it happened to my team. I'm telling you, it's not the right decision, but I just want to know. Okay.
We got to see. It all depends on who's available. All right. So Falcons, Vikings. We actually were able to watch that game.
Oh, that was good early.
42-21. Yeah, it was
close.
It
was good early. It was horrible early. It was late that I enjoyed it. The Vikings did exactly what they tried to do. We were walking over to the right around the halftime. We were walking over to the bar that we were going to watch the rest of the game at, and the Vikings were turning over balls and playing sloppy and keeping the Falcons in it, because it's damn sure wasn't because Kirk Cousins was playing well. He played, he played exactly like you would expect him to. Threw for a lot of yards and threw for 2 interceptions.
Don't say touchdowns. He ain't done that in a while. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's been about 4 or 5 games now since he's thrown a touchdown. Right. Now, I did think that the first drive he actually played pretty well when he was going down the field, and then Brian Robinson ended up with the actually no, it was Tyler Algieri who scored the first one after Brian Robinson was a big part of the drive down there. They swapped him out and Algieri scored a touchdown. But anyways, look, this is the first time, especially in the second half, that I saw some dog in the Vikings. Like, they started to get a little momentum, and you could see them put their foot on their throat and twist. And it was nice to see, right? They could have taken the pedal. They usually do take their foot off the pedal in the second half when they have a 7-point lead, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. We'll win by 1. We'll win by 3 or whatever. And they didn't do that. But I don't know if now's the right time. But my game ball is going to Sam Darnold. And I've got some stats.
Yeah, you can throw it out while the show goes. Yeah.
So, first of all, he played a very, very strong game. There's a whole bunch of fantasy football people who are wishing they threw him in the lineup, me included. 347 yards and 5 touchdowns. The only reason that he was in anyone's game is because someone had Lamar Jackson for bye week or something like that, or injuries. I think in your case, Glenn.
I have Sam or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, you chose correctly. But here's the thing, and here's the reason why I'm giving him the game ball. So since the inception of passer rating, there's been 9 people who have had a lot of games over 100 plus passer rating. So you have Rodgers, who has 14 of them in 2020.
Peace.
Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and 18 and 11 had 13 games over.
That's crazy.
Watson, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady twice, and Steve Young in 94 had 12 games over 100 passing yards. Number 9 is Darnold this year with 11 games over 100 plus passer rating, including obviously this past week, and he's still got 4 games left. He's having an objectively good year. And I will be the first to tell you that prior to the season, if you remember if everyone remembers what I said I don't necessarily believe in him, but I could tell the team did, because they were making moves like a team that thought that they had a chance to win. And well, they had the cornerback move and everything else. But Sam Darnold has earned the job. The list of people that I just gave you: Aaron Rodgers in his MVP years, Mahomes in his MVP years, Brady's in his MVP years, Steve Young in his MVP year, Watson when he was in the number 2 in voting for his MVP year, same for Matt Ryan in 20. All of those were MVPs. And I'm not saying Sam Darnold should be an MVP, but I'm just saying when your name gets put in that stratosphere, you have earned the job. I give him my game ball. I hope that they understand that he should be the presumptive quarterback next season. And you can do what you do about the whole JJ situation. I'm not saying he's bad or anything else, but when you have somebody who's played this well for your team, you find a way to keep him.
Always go with the guy that you've seen play.
Go with the hot hand. Because
go with the guy you've seen play.
Yeah.
You don't go with the guy who's never played before and hope. You don't do that. So we talked about, Cousin hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 straight games. I think he threw another couple of interceptions, so that makes 8 during that span. The problem with signing these old quarterbacks is, they all look great in the preseason. They all look great in training camp. But the problem is, they all look great the first month of the season. But the problem is the season goes on. And once you get to week 10, 12, they start to look their age. I mean, ask the Jets about Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure he looked great, when nobody had helmets on and pads on during preseason. And now look how he's looking. So I don't know. I think maybe the whole thing kind of fell off. Sometimes with quarterbacks, they kind of fall off a cliff and you kind of see it. I think we're seeing it with Kirk Cousins right now. I don't think I'm not saying he was a great quarterback, but he was a solid quarterback. And I think the days of him being solid are probably over because he's on a bad streak right now. Bad streak.
Well, we should give some respect to some of the reasons why he started looking that good. Their names are Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson.
He started all right this season when he
started the first month, but like I said, they start to show their age. Week 8, 9, 10, 12, they start to show their age.
I just think teams change so much, bro. It's hard to say, but he hasn't played good. So you feel like good there. Quick, just Panthers Eagles, because I thought Bryce Young was kind of solid, man. He had a chance to win that game.
He's been solid the last few weeks.
He has. But they lose to the Eagles. Raiders, Bucs, no surprise.
Wait, we gotta talk about Carolina. Look,
my bad.
Bryce Young has been balling since he got benched. They beat the Giants. They
strategic benching in history.
They beat the Giants. They beat the Saints. That's
played
fine.
Close to everybody.
But they only lost by 3 to Tampa Bay. They only lost by 3 to KC, and they should have beaten. Bryce Young threw a really good pass, hit him in the hands to Leggett, and he dropped it. I think he had 2 or 3 drops that game. I mean, if it weren't for that, they would have beat Philadelphia. So I've never given my game ball so far to somebody who lost the game, but my game ball goes to Bryce Young, man, because ever since that benching, he's been doing it. And I've been a big Bryce Young supporter because I saw him in college. I just saw him get lit up by Georgia, and he still stayed in the pocket trying to throw the ball. I'm like, you know what? Let me see what he can do in the pros. And it didn't work out so well. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I really root for Bryce Young. I know he's an LA kid. That's not the reason why I'm rooting for him. I just like the guy, man, even though he's 5'8", 10, 9, something.
He's not big.
But he definitely gets my game ball, man. He's been playing a lot better the last few weeks.
No, good. Thanks for stopping me, Coop. I didn't know if there was more than that. Perfect. Raiders, Bucs win. They should win. They're in top of that division. They should be. They're the best team in that division. We got too many injuries, and we'll just see what happens in the rest of the year. And it's the Desmond Ridder era for now, potentially, if Aiden can't go, and then Carter Bradley gets pulled up. So in Madden, I'm still trying to stick with my team, but that's really what I'm thinking about now.
Let me stop you again. I didn't mean to call everybody idiots who sat there and watched the entire Jacksonville Jaguars and Mac Jones play against Tennessee Titans and Will Levis. It was 3-0 at halftime. I don't mean to call you idiots, but you definitely deserve something from each team if you sat and watched through that damn game. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, if you're a fan, bro.
Bonus check.
Man, seriously. Real
if you're a
talk.
fan, that's what you do.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Seahawks, Cardinals. That's another big win for them Seahawks in y'all division.
Yeah, I lost that one. I thought Arizona was going to win that one, man. And looks like Seattle, they won that game. Yeah. I mean, we're not going to win the NFC West, so somebody has to win it. So, yeah.
And
I am not sure it's them. I honestly believe that the Seahawks Rams to close the season is for the West.
Yeah, it could be.
Yep. Especially with what the Rams did. Bears 49ers.
Oh, so I know me and B were on opposite sides on this. I want to be on B's side. I really did. I really want to be on the Bears side. But the Bears, you can't trust. They haven't run a road game on a Sunday in God knows how long. Their last coach who got fired never did it. And I wanted the Bears to beat the 49ers. We were all talking to Bears fans when we all went out on Saturday.
Yeah, lots of them around. Yeah.
And if you watch this game, you could tell in the first quarter that the 49ers played like a desperate team and the Chicago was not going to win this game. That was pretty much it.
Agreed.
And from the first quarter, Bears weren't going to win. The 49ers played like they were still in it, like they still got a chance. They played desperate. Nice. They played hard.
Thank you, George Kittle.
Yeah, George Kittle. Yeah, he was the main. He was the main
Hey.
He was the main cheerleader for the 49ers. Talking about we need to go out here and make stuff happen. But yeah, you can't trust the Bears in this spot. And a lot of people lost a lot of money. That spread was 49ers -6. Tuesday game time, it was 49ers -3. All the money was on Chicago, and a lot of people lost big time in that game. The 49ers put up a game. I don't think they'll be able to probably score that many points for the rest of the season.
Their money should soon depart.
Man, but yeah, the 49ers pulled that game out. I still want the 49ers to lose. I think our season is over, but good win for them. For the players. Players don't quit. So
that's crazy. I can't, man. I still want my team to lose. That's crazy.
I need y'all to stay in it for a few more weeks, as I'm very heavily leveraged on Kittle, and I do not want to get to the point where you all give up so much that you stop playing players.
I think he would still play.
That's what
though.
I need.
No, Kittle doesn't quit.
Success for that reason alone.
Kittle would be the only thing that would happen.
Yeah, Kittle don't quit.
You'd probably be in a good spot if they rest to give up.
I don't
just
want Purdy setting. I need
Purdy's gonna play.
Kittle yards.
Yeah, Purdy's gonna play. He wants a contract.
Purdy's gonna play. Yeah. So I think you're safe. Actually, you might be in a really good spot.
Brian wants us to lose 40-39 every game. That's what that's what he wants. That's what he wants. With Kittle getting a couple touchdowns, that's what he wants. Which I
don't
understand.
care if you win or lose. I want you to have that 40-39 game. I don't care if you win or lose. Like I said, I think the Rams and Seahawks are going to be playing for the. I think you guys are just too far behind at this point to win it, because I don't think those teams are going to fall off that much. But the Rams and the Seahawks are.
Speaking of Bills Rams 42-44. Rams
barn
win.
Burner.
Yeah, man. Rams. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. You go. Go ahead. Start it.
So the one thing that I've said pretty consistently is there's one dude who can just put a team on his back at the quarterback position. And I always talk about other people aren't that, but the one dude I've always said is Josh Allen, and he did it again. I mean, he was the leading rusher with 82 yards. James Cook had 21 rushing yards other than Josh Allen. And then he threw for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. This was all Josh Allen. I know that he lost, but he had to be the entire team. He damn near needed to go block a kick over there because it was the only way that they had a chance to win the game over there. On the other side, I said this after I saw them beat the Vikings and when they got Puka and Cooper Kupp back. The Rams are a very solid team when healthy. Kyron Williams is good. Puka is outstanding. Cooper Kupp is still very, very good. And they've got other players like Tutu Atwell and Kobe Parkinson that can play with Demarcus Robinson too, who can play solid football and make this team a contender. And they've been doing that. And, Matt Stafford is still steady. Like he doesn't have the cannon he used to have, but his arm is still better than a lot of people, and he can fit it in some spots, especially when you have people like Puka Nacua running those clean routes. So this is a fun game to watch when you see all this. There was no defense, but it's fun to watch teams kind of light up the scoreboard a little bit.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. The Bills kind of blew the game though. They made a lot of mistakes in that
Yeah.
timeout after that failed quarterback sneak. But
Their whole team,
the Rams
team
won.
sucks other than
Yeah,
Allen.
that type of stuff. That's the difference between the Bills and the Chiefs. That type of stuff just doesn't happen with the Chiefs. Maybe because Bills have a defensive head coach. I don't know, but that stuff doesn't happen to the Chiefs. And because the Bills lost, that just gave home field advantage for the playoffs to the Chiefs. I think they're 2 games up on the Bills, and they'll end up getting home field. But doesn't mean Buffalo they could still beat Kansas City, but it's just gonna be a little harder. But good win for the Rams, definitely.
Quick random question: Take Josh Allen off this team and put Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, all these other very, very good quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts. Do you think the Buffalo Bills would have a winning record, let alone be 10-3 in the AFC title competition?
No, because the team is built around the skills of Josh Allen, which is different than Lamar Jackson, which is different than Patrick Mahomes. That's why.
There's just nobody else in this damn team. I mean, Amari Cooper can be good.
He's okay.
Khalil Shakir is not that guy. But he looks like it when he's getting catches passes from Josh Allen. Anyways, Josh Allen fan.
When people talk about like an MVP, this is the type of team and the type of person you want to talk about an MVP, because without him on that team, it's nothing. Yeah.
It's not this for sure.
Right.
Fair. So
GB, next one.
Big win for the Rams though.
Yeah, AFC West battle, man, as the Chiefs stay on top. Chiefs beat the Chargers 17-19.
Damn.
You go, man. I don't need to say nothing.
Oh, no. You guys tell me, please tell me how great these quarterbacks were.
Man,
please tell me how amazing Herbert was. Please tell me how when Coop, I hear you, man. I listen. And you said when a coach trusts his quarterback, he'll have him throw. Tell me why he didn't throw. Tell me why he doesn't trust him. Tell me why he says he's great.
213-1 is throwing.
Man, McConkey was nowhere to be found. I don't know who his playmakers are.
That's them Jimmy G.
Well, McConkey was hurt.
Exactly. He was nowhere to be found. I don't know who he's supposed to throw to. Look, what the
quarterbacks win. We just said Josh Allen don't have nobody. And
let me tell you something.
He's making his team amazing.
But before I talk about this, Glenn, let me tell you why Josh Herbert is good. It is completely. It's Justin Herbert. It's insane. When you have bad coaching in NFL, it's just hard to succeed. He got to the playoffs. He got to the playoffs with Brandon Staley as his head coach. That's enough for me. Andrew Luck got to the playoffs with Chuck Pagano as head coach. These are 2 guys who will never be head coaches again.
Chuck Pagano's ever. Pretty well respected, but okay.
Yeah, shit. Yeah. How many interviews has he had since that job? That'll be 0. Okay. Brandon Staley should not be head coach. Neither should Chuck Pagano. Those are terrible coaches. Both those quarterbacks make the playoffs. It's very hard.
His coach now is pretty good, right?
Have you seen his team?
I'm just saying
it's a rebuild.
But you just said a rebuild. Oh, okay. So
it's a rebuild.
All I was trying to say is, and it's gonna be funny when we look back at this, whenever we look back at this, because these are.
Well, aren't they going to the playoffs though? Ain't the Chargers going to the playoffs in the first year of a rebuild?
Okay, that's great. So just go to the playoffs is good with any quarterback can get you there. I think my point is that he's a complimentary piece, bro. He's not to Brian's point earlier about and both of you guys just made, take Justin Herbert. Take Josh Allen off that team. They're not winning anything. Take Justin Herbert off that team. Same record.
Take Justin Herbert off the team. Same record. The Chargers will have the same record.
See, it's not.
With who? At quarterback? Anybody?
Put any mid-level quarterback and they have the same record.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's difference of opinion. I don't know about that.
Though. That part I appreciate.
I'm just saying.
I don't know about that.
Say he's elite then, but you put Brock in that team, they have the same record. Put anybody who's you think is a solid quarterback, they have the exact same record. Is all I'm saying. And if think about it, he's not a game changer right now. Maybe it's because it's coaching. Maybe it's because of whatever. I'm just saying.
Brock Purdy, but I would say
he gets hella passes. I know but we're just giving Herbert passes because he's always had this and that happen, and he didn't have this. And why doesn't Derek Carr get them same passes? Because Carr has way more fourth quarter comebacks and everything like that.
That's right, because he was with the Raiders. He was losing a lot in the fourth quarter. So
so bad coaching, all that stuff, but he's never
ain't losing the fourth quarter a lot. He don't lose a lot in the fourth quarter.
Except this one where his quarterback threw 200 yards and 1 touchdown. He threw a Jimmy G line without the interceptions. Last week he was no good against the Falcons. I'm just waiting for the good times.
That's their
wait a minute. In fairness, when you say he threw for 210 yards, he literally had the exact same stat line as Patrick Mahomes, and he gets to be called the greatest.
You think I'm gonna give Patrick Mahomes credit on this? Please, that boy was weak as hell too. He was weak last week. The boy's not
when I
watch this game, what the Chiefs are doing are absolutely insane. Every game comes down to one possession, and every game they just find a way. They just find a way to win. I mean,
Well,
they literally dunked in a field goal to win the game.
And you know what? When Justin Herbert had the ball, there was not a time where you're like, "Oh, this is over with now," because Justin Herbert has it. You didn't say it, and you wouldn't say it under any game you've ever watched him play.
But you wouldn't say that against the Chiefs because you know the Chiefs are going to do black magic and voodoo.
Any game you guys have seen, we're not watching, saying Justin Herbert's going to pull this one out. He's the guy. If he wins, you're like, oh, cool. But if he doesn't, you're like, yep, that's some Chargers. But someone else gets the blame, is all I'm saying. Just think about it.
Nobody's blaming nobody.
There's no game.
I'm not blaming anybody.
You said it was the coaches. You said he has a bad team. You said
Brandon Staley. Everybody knows he can't coach. He's terrible. There's plenty of examples.
Before we said he had a roster, but it wasn't. So then it was a roster. Then it was the coach. I think he's an average quarterback, guys, and we're seeing it every week. But none of us can really have a reason why we don't think so.
I understand your point of view, and I understand where it comes from. So I'm not arguing that. But he only has 5 losses, and they're all to division competitive teams.
But that's not my thing is great.
Chiefs twice,
So again, but
Baltimore.
Brock won hella games, right? But does he get the credit for that, or is
Brock,
he coaching?
Brock
hadn't won games in a long time.
This season, but last season when Coop was like, "Hey, bro, he's winning games. Like, why is he not getting credit?" And he was playing good. And he was playing good when they were winning games.
Brock and Herbert are 2 different quarterbacks. Physically, just one traits, everything.
One plays good.
I
mean, come on, bro. What's the boy like?
Brock don't play good.
You can't point.
If you're gonna pick one, I would take Herbert and RB.
I'm saying he's chucking it around, but Brock Purdy comes in. He has players. He throws the ball. He gets the ball deep. He throws the ball short. He reads offenses. Herbert does not do that, bro.
He ain't even putting up Brock Purdy stats, man. He ain't leading no league in none of them offensive categories. For
Sam Darnold is winning hella games, throwing 5 TDs. He's killing. I'm just saying. Look at Herbert's numbers, bro. They're not that good. And Mahomes wasn't that good either. The Chiefs are winning. This is a team that's learned to win. That's coached by one of the greatest to ever coach in football. That's
a Super Bowl team they just played.
That's a fantastic who?
The Chiefs. They got 3 Super Bowls.
Oh, I thought you were saying the Chargers. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
They played a Super Bowl. The back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They should win. But again, I'm just saying the Chargers were hella average. And you could blame the team. You could blame whatever. You blame someone else always. But their quarterback did nothing to win that game is all I'm saying.
Go ahead.
He didn't lose it.
If you
bet
on the Chiefs,
nothing to win
if you bet on the Chiefs the last 7 games against the spread, you would have lost every single game.
Right, correct. And I'm just saying, Aiden O'Connell threw for hella more yards in the Chiefs area, but Justin Herbert we love for 200 yards, 1 TD. If that was Jimmy G doing that, you'd be salty.
You take O'Connell over Herbert? You take O'Connell over?
No, I take Herbert right now in a heartbeat, bro, because we need a quarterback.
Okay, at least your head working. Okay,
but no one who has any of these top 10 quarterbacks is saying, "Damn, I wish we had Herbert." No one in the Bengals is like, "Damn, I wish we had Herbert." No one in San Francisco is like, "Damn, we had Herbert," except you. And that's mainly because of the injuries. If once you take them players off of your team who are all hurt and you put Justin Herbert there, you have the same team. I don't understand he's not making anybody around him better. When you guys can prove it, cool. You guys have hella stats, know it all. I'm saying he's weak. We haven't seen him do nothing. Bo Nix we got to see what they do. He's just not doing anything. It's just reflected.
I'm not on Bo Nix.
They're the same player, so you love them both.
I'm the Bo Nix fan out of the three.
You love them both, is what I'm saying. They're the same player, and they're getting passes for nothing. They're getting more passes than they complete.
Okay. All right.
Bengals Cowboys.
Oh, I have nothing to say about this game.
Not Josh Burrow. What's his name? Joe Burrow. That's a quarterback right there, ain't it?
Yes, he is.
Stays in the pocket.
Yes, he is.
There was never a doubt about him. Yeah.
Team is down. He scores. He's one of the best players on that team. He has the ball. You're like, shoot, they could win. Hey, so what? Playoffs is a team stat.
Okay.
Maybe his coach. That's not the game plan for his coach.
Okay.
He can only do what the coach calls, right?
Look, I'm not saying nothing against Burrow. I think he's good.
I think
he's fantastic.
I think he's fantastic.
There's upper levels and then there's these middle guys who we just like from college or whatever, which is dope.
I also think that they put a lot of faith in the idea that Joe Mixon could go, who's playing very well for Houston when healthy, and that Chase Brown and Khalil Herbert were going to be able to pick up
Chase Brown has been a monster, though.
And he has been solid. He has not been a monster.
What do you have, 145 in the air on this last game? They just have had bad breaks, bro. That offense has been humming.
But you need a running back. That's what I'm saying. When you're trying to establish like Chase Brown is the other guy with a big running back. They don't have that. They've got 2 people who can catch the ball out of the backfield in Khalil Herbert and Chase Brown. This is just the reason why I'm mentioning this is my season-long rail that these top running backs have a real purpose. The teams that have lost them, and they lost Joe Mixon, have shown that they cannot do it without them. So you put Joe Mixon back on this team, I feel like the Bengals record is probably flipped 8-5 instead of 5-8.
You think Joe Mixon is that big of a difference maker?
I think a good running back
really
is, and Joe Mixon was a good running back. Yeah,
Joe Mixon. Yeah, Joe Mixon's top 11, and Chase Brown is 19. So okay.
I think he's okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats for this year, Joe Mixon, and I think he's missed a couple games, is what they need. They need somebody who could run between the tackles and get yardage.
All right, we'll move on.
It doesn't need to be Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon's number 11, right above him is Pollard and Jones and Kamara and Bijan and Hubbard and Kyron.
What's interesting because
any of those guys in there. You go down to 19 where Chase Brown is, and it's Bucky Irving, DeAndre Swift, Rico Dowdle, James Cook. That's the bracket that he's in.
Hey man, Rico Dowdle's underrated.
Those Bengals losses, bro. It's like so like that Bengals Steelers game, barely. I don't think that Joe Mixon's a difference. They were right there. You got
I
you know what I mean?
Because
like
you
a lot of
can't
these
control
games
tempo when
right
you don't
there.
have faith in your running game.
Yeah, I'm not a big
and
Joe
they
Mixon
get
guy.
and they lose games on one
They
drive
lost
here
to
and
the
there.
Chargers barely. Like I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think this
having a running game allows
maker.
you to control tempo and run clock when you have to get down there. If you have to rely 100% on Joe Burrow or on the passing game, it's really hard to win close games. If you look at the teams that have won the close games, if you look at the Packers, they have running backs in the top 10, 15 in the league.
Yeah, I think Joe Mixon's below average personally, but we'll see in the playoffs.
You know what's crazy?
Except for he's top, he's 11th.
Yeah, just looking at a couple games. In the game when they lost to the Chargers, Chase Brown had 86 yards. Top rusher for the Chargers was Herbert with 65. In the game they lost to the Steelers, he had the same amount as Najee. So I don't know. I just think they've had
Najee Harris ain't that guy either.
I know, but the Steelers won. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the same thing. So I just think they've had really tough breaks, but it don't matter.
Different offense.
What your tough breaks are.
The Bengal offense is completely dependent. And if you look at their offense last year, down the stretch, they were able to control the tempo of the game. They can't do that. The Pittsburgh Steelers can, and they are winning games this year.
Fair enough. Okay. Coop, any last thoughts? Otherwise, let's go to this week.
No, let's go this week. I'm just let's go
Thursday night, man. Your boys, Niners, Rams, big game. Y'all need a win.
Yeah, I would love for the Rams to win. The 49ers are favored. I would love for the Rams to win. But the thing is, I'm not sure if the Rams can play 2 perfect games in a row. Because
they wouldn't have to be perfect
on a short week.
It will be on a short week. That's going to be required. They play. I don't know if they can do that.
You can go 75% against y'all. They don't have to be perfect.
Well, the Rams usually don't beat the 49ers during the regular season. Yeah. They usually don't beat them. They should win this game. Everything says take the Rams, but I don't know. I think the Rams find some way to pull it out. But I'm going to go with the Rams.
Santa Clara, which helps.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah. I think this is a trap game. I disagree with you that all the things point to the Rams. It's a short week. They just had a brutal game against the Buffalo Bills. A lot of things need to go right, especially and they're playing on the road.
Yeah.
So I get this the 2.5 point spread, and I understand why the 49ers, who I don't think are as good a football team as the Rams, could win this game.
Yeah.
But I'll pick the Rams just because I think they'll find a way because they look hungry, they play hungry, and I'm just going to go that way. But yeah, I wouldn't touch this with any type of a bet of any kind ever.
No, I wouldn't either. That's why I picked the Rams. I think they'll find some way to pull it out, but it wouldn't shock me if the 49ers won this game. It really wouldn't. Yep. GB?
Which one's next?
Next one, so we're skipping that. Commanders, Saints, Chiefs, Browns, Bengals, Titans, Dolphins, Texans. Dolphins are still in the mix, right? Kind of.
I mean,
they technically still are.
I mean, this is a game I'm going to be betting. I'm taking the Dolphins this. I just think they're better than the Texans. I'll be taking the Dolphins in this one at Houston. I think it's -3 or +3 or something like that. They're getting 3 points. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the Dolphins +3 in this game. What about you, Brian?
Interesting.
I like your bet. I'm not going to pick it based off of who I like on the spread alone because I think this is a close enough game that I would take points if I had to bet it. I wouldn't bet it at all. So I'm just going to say I think Houston is the team that is going to be hungry. Like they're close to being able to win it. I'll take Houston. I'm not committed to that pick. I absolutely understand why Miami could could upset it, and I get exactly what you're saying. But I'm just gonna say, I'll take the team with the better record and
that has Joe Mixon.
Oh,
well, no, because I think Kane is a freaking stud.
Yeah,
I thought he was last year, but
he's good.
Kane is that guy's a stud.
Yeah, he's good. All right, next game, B.
So Ravens, Giants, skip. Jets, Jags, skip. Cowboys, Panthers, skip. Buccaneers, Chargers. That's a good game. Sunday at 1:25.
Yeah, we got we skipped. Okay, we'll go back to Bills.
Yeah, I guess we'll go back to some games. Yeah.
No. Right. I'm going by. It's coming.
That's fine. Okay. Bucs Chargers. What do you got?
So I got Chargers in this one. Chargers are at home. I'm taking the Chargers. Should be a decent game, but I think the Chargers will pull it out and cover the 3-point spread. I just think they're going to slow down Tampa Bay's offense. Tampa Bay's offense is kind of finesse. The Chargers want to play sort of a grinded out game, kind of physical game. That's hardball style. That's what you have to do.
Quarterback, yeah.
That's what you have to do in a when you have a roster like the Chargers. You got to kind of ugly up games. We said that before the season started. So I think they're going to ugly it up enough to win this game against Tampa Bay. What about you, Brian?
If you had an elite quarterback, maybe you could do something, but you gotta wait on that. Go ahead, B.
So I'm actually making a contingent pick. Ladd McConkey in the game, the Chargers win. Ladd McConkey out of the game, the Chargers lose.
Okay.
We've seen what the problem when Herbert doesn't have somebody who has that upside to throw to, or at least attract the defenses. Yep. So, and I think McConkey has just become that in his rookie year has become a difference maker for that entire offense. And they've shown that they don't necessarily have that go-to guy when things get a little sticky late. So I think he's enough. So that's how my pick works. If you see Ladd McConkey in the lineup, he's questionable right now. I would tip the hat to the Chargers, and if he's not, I don't think they can win it without him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. McConkey was nowhere to be found last game. Yeah, needs somebody to throw to. All right, go ahead.
All right.
Wasn't in my fantasy lineup either.
Man, so Bills and Lions. That game was coming up next. Bills at Lions. That's a big game.
This is probably the best game of the week, right?
Yeah, make your pick.
Looks like it. Yeah.
I told you I'm not picking against the Detroit Lions until someone shows me they lose. You know how much I like Josh Allen. You know that I think he's one of those guys that any given week he can win. But the entire Detroit Lions team is playing good, and the one player on the Josh Allen on the Buffalo sideline that's playing well is Josh Allen. So Lions.
This game for me depends on who's the home team. The home team is Detroit. I am taking Detroit. I got Detroit win this game. I think Buffalo can make it competitive in the first half, but I just think that offensive line for Detroit is just going to wear down.
Make no doubt about it. I am rooting for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
I just don't think the Lions can.
I don't think they win this one. Yeah, I got games. Detroit.
Next one, Steelers, Eagles.
Yeah, you want to go first? Or I can go. Doesn't matter.
You go first.
All right. So look, Jalen is not a good passer. He's never has been. You got AJ Brown. He's complaining now. He ain't getting no targets, whatever. He's upset he ain't getting his numbers. And that's because Saquon Barkley is killing it right now for the Eagles, man. He could probably get 2,000 yards this season. I still think Philly is not a Super Bowl winning team. And I am taking the Steelers, who will be supremely motivated. And with Jalen barely throwing for 100, 125 yards every game for the past, I guess, couple games, whatever.
Just want to muddy up the games. That's all. Just want to muddy up the game.
The Steelers +5 is definitely my pick. I'm going to take Steelers to win this game in Philly.
So I was looking at schedules and end of the year. I don't know that anybody has a harder 4-game stretch than the Steelers. They got Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals to finish out. I know that the Bengals are not, great team this year, bro. But they throw haymakers. They play hard. They play tough. They play teams.
44-38 last game. So
yeah. And I have to give them one of these four games, and I'm going to say that's not this one. I'm going to take the Eagles.
Cool.
Okay. Another good game, Packers Seahawks, also important. Sunday night.
That's super important.
Yeah, this was easy for me.
Lose.
This was easy for me. I'm taking the Packers. The Packers just overall just a better team, better coach team, better overall team. than Seattle. I'm taking the Packers. It doesn't matter where the game is being played at. I think the Packers really need this, and they're going to win.
I agree with you. I think the Packers are going to win. I do think that they're a solid team through and through. I do not think that they're demonstrably better than Seattle. I don't think Seattle's a bad team. I just think the Packers are better.
Yeah.
And here's another one. I will absolutely be rooting for the Seattle Seahawks, just to give a little breathing room to the Vikings. But that's really about it. I mean, because it's an NFC game, whoever has the worst record, which in this case is the Seattle Seahawks, I want to beat the team with the better record because it gives some parity to the
keeps up close.
Yeah,
definitely. Bears, we got this cold. They put the Monday night games. Both our games.
Both of our teams are playing
at the same time. So Bears Vikings starts at 5.
Well, I'm gonna go quick, Brian. The Bears are on the road, so I'm taking the Vikings. Go ahead.
It just didn't matter. The Vikings are playing good right now.
Of course, I'm taking the Vikings. I hate that these games are they're gonna find some way to stress me out. But the Vikings are clearly the better team. They're playing good football right now. They should have no more trouble with the Bears than they did with Atlanta. But this is also the cardiac kids of the NFL this year, so we'll see what happens.
When you guys played Chicago the first time, what was the score? Let me look it up right now.
I want to say that we didn't play them before.
Oh, you have? Oh, yeah, you're 30-27.
No, we played them a couple weeks ago. 30-27.
30-27. Yeah, point spread 7. Yeah, okay, all right.
There's and then Raiders got a Monday night game.
Caleb had 340 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he played good against the Lions too. They played good in the division. So also this is on Mom's birthday, so happy birthday. Falcons, Raiders. I don't know. I don't even know who our quarterback is. I don't know nothing. So I got to go with the Falcons. And probably Michael Penix playing like Brian was saying.
I hope it's Michael Penix. This is time to get some burn and see if you need to trade Cousins if you can. Although I think one of the candidates would be for the Raiders to trade down and not take Shedeur Sanders with the first pick and get someone like Cousins. But anyways,
Penix.
If Penix is in, I'm going to say this either way. The Falcons are going to win this game. I think it's going to be an easier game for them to win if Penix is in.
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders, whether whatever quarterback they're playing for. Yeah, no matter who's in for the Falcons. I'm taking the Raiders to win this game.
I'd love it to be right.
I take them to show up Monday night. I take them to play hard. I take them to win this game.
I hope they win for your family.
For Mom's birthday.
I know we'll be watching and celebrating.
Dope, man. So we're right about in an hour. Last couple segments. I don't have a game ball. Man, I gave it to the city of San Francisco for a great weekend last weekend because that was crazy.
Yeah.
Hogwash, man. What's going on right now in the world of sports? That's a bunch of hogwash.
All right, so I'm gonna give my hogwash is going to go to the coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Raheem Morris. When asked why his coaching staff was so big, he said because when you win games, other teams like to poach your coaches, so we want to have backup coaches to take those positions. Problem is, ain't nobody taking no coaches from his staff. So
I like the concept though.
Yeah, so he gets my hogwash for this week. Nobody wants anybody from the Falcons or any player on the Falcons right now the way they're playing. But anyway, he gets my hogwash in a lighthearted way.
Mine is I'm actually gonna turn mine on myself. It's because of how I'm talking about Justin Herbert and Bo Nix. They're not saying they're terrible. I'm saying that they get tons of passes and people love them for no reason. I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm just saying we're putting them higher than we probably should. So it's not fair to make them sound like they're absolutely terrible because they're both on winning teams and they're playing solid. And I'd take either one right now because I don't have a quarterback. But if I had a quarterback, I would not swap them. So to me, for hating for no reason, just because it's fun.
That is the first ever hogwash on someone's own self.
On myself. Yeah,
no doubt.
My hogwash is outside of the world of sports, and it goes to the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, which I will no longer ever eat.
Why? I go to one on Gower. What's wrong?
Yeah, they have been canceled, my friend, and the reason they've been canceled is because the owner of Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle is a huge Trumper. So much so that what he decided to do was put a big blow-up Trump figurine in front of at his Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, knowing that his clientele is mostly minorities and folks who are going to be crushed.
Yeah.
He also posted a bunch of stuff, basically laughing.
That was the issue. Yeah. You could vote for who you want, but he was kind of, it was.
He put it in everyone's face and was kind of bragging about how they won. So, he's black folks in LA have canceled that dude. I'm all with it. He's a rat. Hogwash.
He just cost himself a lot of business, but okay.
And then,
I hope he cost himself all of his business, because when Roscoe's a while back, a few years back, they didn't do well during the pandemic. They had to come out of it, and a whole bunch of people who weren't necessarily planning to go to Roscoe's at that point in time went there to try and make sure that the business stayed alive, because it's been, I hate to say this, knowing who owned it, but it's been part of the culture for a long time. Kept it alive, and then he basically thumbed his nose at all of us. So,
I always get the number 3, half chicken, 2 waffles. Looks like that might be no more.
It won't. There's been places. It was special food. I hope somebody steals the recipe and opens up a better run establishment.
Okay, minute to win it. Last minute. I just thank everybody for listening.
Oh man, my man to win it. Chris Paul, 39 years old, just moved up to number 2 in all-time assists. He just passed Jason Kidd. He's 3,700 assists behind John Stockton. Now, I don't think Chris Paul is better than Jason Kidd. I think John Stockton.
He ain't gonna catch John Stockton. I was like,
he definitely gonna catch John Stockton. But I think Jason Kidd is a better point guard than Chris Paul, and I think John Stockton, imagine a couple others are better than Chris Paul. But it's still a huge accomplishment for him to still be playing and to be that high on the list. So I just wanted to give a shout out to CP3 for that.
Nice. B, take us out.
Mine is actually a tip of the cap to Mother Nature. So in the last week, we've seen Mother Nature's vengeance with a 7.0 earthquake up there in Northern California, and now crazy winds in Los Angeles that have led to another massive fire. On the flip side, I just got back from San Francisco in the middle of the winter, or the winter, where it was 75 to 80 degrees, perfectly blue, no wind, and had a perfect weather weekend in a place that does not have a lot of perfect weather weekends, even days in December. I don't know what Mother Nature's doing, but she's thumbing her nose at all of us, because, you have a major earthquake up in NorCal Thursday, and then crazy fires, crazy winds. It's cold down here. It's not great. And then a perfect day in a place that doesn't usually get them this time of year. So tip of the cap to Mother Nature. Please let me stay on your good side.
Yeah, it was also good to see you this weekend too.
Yeah, it was great.
You too, DB.
All of you. This was a lot of fun.
DB. No doubt.
Always. Appreciate everybody for checking us out. The Sports Counterpoints on December the 10th, 2024. We will catch y'all next time. Peace.